Today I want to tell you a story about a man called Ivan and his dog. Ivan Pavlov was a Russian physiologist, and he wanted to do some research into dog saliva. So he got some dogs, he tied them up, and he sprayed meat powder into their noses, and in their mouths he put a test tube to collect the saliva that they produced. And after a while he noticed that the dogs would start to salivate just on hearing the footsteps of him or his assistant when they went to spray this meat powder into the dogs' noses. So he discovered that the dogs were creating an association between the sound of getting food and actually getting food. So he got a metronome and he let the dogs hear that, and that's obviously a neutral thing, something that the dogs didn't associate with food, so they didn't salivate. And then what he started doing, he started playing that metronome before he sprayed this meat powder into the dogs' noses. And then after a little while, he stopped spraying the meat powder into the dogs' noses and he just played the metronome. And he found that the dogs would salivate just on hearing the sound of the metronome, because they'd begun to associate that sound with getting food. So this is known as a conditioned response, and we all have lots of different conditioned responses. For example, a smoker might associate drinking coffee with a cigarette, or they might associate having a break at work with a cigarette. And so they're conditioned to smoke in those types of situations. So what are your conditioned responses?